Send your adventurers into the deep, dark dungeon, build your labyrinth, and throw some monsters at your enemies while you're at it. Why? For treasures. Hey guys, and welcome to Tantrum House Studio 3. I'm Will Meadows.
And I'm Sara Meadows, and today we're looking at 4 treasures. This is from designer Yaroslav Dudin, and it's coming to Kickstarter from Wee Robin Games.
It's a 2 to 4 player tile laying, dice rolling game. It's coming to Kickstarter soon, and we've got a prototype copy of it, so let's take a look at how it's played. Lay out the main board and place the crystal in the center.
Give each player their character's standee, a board with markers, and their unique starting weapons.
Each player is dealt 5 monsters, and the starting player is dealt 3.
Everyone selects tiles from the stash and places one on the board, and you are ready to begin.
On their turn, players may first choose to use their character's power. For example, the thief may use one of his dagger cards to steal treasure from other players.
Then you may place a monster or a trap on the tile of each player if you so choose.
Then, you may either play a tile, either on your path or someone else's, as long as the doorways align, or you can move your hero according to their speed.
If your hero comes across a treasure chest, you will roll a die to see how much loot is gained.
And if you're able to find a shop, you can exchange treasures for money, which cannot be stolen.
Events will happen along the way, which can affect one or all players, good or bad.
Traps will be encountered as well. Players may use a rope to escape, or try to roll and check their dexterity. If they are agile, they may pass the trap, but the penalty is high if they are injured.
Monsters are always waiting, hiding in the shadows, and players may choose to equip themselves with any weapons cards they have before making their attack. The die is rolled, and the hero's strength must exceed that of the monster, or they will suffer the consequences.
The game ends once one player has reached the crystal in the center of the labyrinth. Points for treasures and coins are tallied, and the player with the most points wins. So obviously we're looking at prototype components in this game. We've actually seen them upgrade the components pretty substantially from the first preview that we got of their game. A lot of cardboard miniatures going on, a lot of fun. We have a playthrough of this on our channel if you want to see what it looks like to actually play the game. You'll see when you play the game that there is a lot of luck involved in it. You are rolling for those treasures, and if you manage to get a bunch of treasure cards in your hand, that will help you out immensely in the game. But there is a lot of mitigation that can happen as you are drawing monsters into your hand and playing those onto other players. A lot of times, one of the best strategies in the game isn't necessarily, as you'll see in the playthrough, to race to the center while you get a bunch of points for that jewel in the middle when you get there. It doesn't necessarily mean that you'll have racked up enough points throughout the course of the game.
Yeah, the player who has the most points, usually most of those points are going to be from the treasure that you've gained. One way to keep your treasure safe is to make sure that you stop at one of those shops along the way in that path through the dungeon, and so you will gain coins for those treasures you turn in. You will need to be careful though. If you give all your treasure into the shops, then you may not have what you need to defeat some of those monsters, especially if you sell off any of your weapons.
Yeah, there are a lot of different approaches that you can take to the game. Building up your stats when you beat those monsters is a great way to be able to then beat higher monsters at the end of the game. But if somebody else races to the end and cuts you off before you really have time to build that engine, then who knows what kind of score you're going to end up with. And those kind of decisions that you make in the game, what approach are you going to take, are what's going to give this game a lot of its replayability.
Yeah, if you can even summon monsters in your own little labyrinth tunnel, and you can use those to defeat on your own. You can send some of those easy ones to help build your stats so that by the time you get deeper in, harder monster decks will come out, and so you'll be able to, if someone lays one of those dragons on you, you'll be able to defeat them.
The game has some really fun artwork. There's a lot of different monsters, and all of those have their little standees, so this game has a really nice big full table presence, which is cool. And I really enjoyed the way that they numbered their cards and how everything just kind of makes sense as you organize it. It'll be interesting to see what their rule set ends up looking like in the final. I know that they're kind of rewriting and writing that for English, which will help a lot. But we had some fun playing this game, and if you, like I said, if you want to check out that playthrough video, that'll give you a really good idea for what it's like to jump in.
Yeah, this one has the tile laying aspect. It has a couple of rules or how you're allowed to lay your tiles, which makes for some interesting gameplay. You have to make sure to match up the doors correctly and the walls correctly. But there are items that you can use along the way to try and change that up. You can thwart somebody else by sending a bomb, or you can use dynamite or even a pickaxe to help change that direction if you come across a monster that you cannot defeat with the stats that you have. You can reroute and go another direction.
Yeah, this is the type of game that if you've got like plenty of time to play it and you want to just dedicate a bunch of time to it, you can end up in each other's labyrinths and moving around. You can build out a huge area with all kinds of treasures and things, or you can race to the end and you can make it a pretty short game. So it kind of gives you a lot of flexibility in that way.
Yeah, if this sounds like something you're interested in, you can check out 4 Treasures on Kickstarter from Wee Robin Games, and then be sure to check out our playthrough and our other videos from Tantrum.
In front of your enemies for treasures. I rubbed my pec weird.
Yep.
Why? For treasures. And add them to other players' hands. You all choked up over that game?
No, I just swallowed funny.
Rocked it.
That's good.
All right, another one down. Next game.